Hey, what's up, team? It's Joe Mill here with Killer Miller Q. We back at it again. Today I'm gonna be bringing you a solid cook. We're jumping back on the old pellet grill. I'm firing up the Green Mountain as we speak, and we're gonna be throwing together a little something different for your ham for Easter. We're gonna be doing a smoked cherry bourbon ham. Know you're gonna like this one. I ain't gonna take too much time. Let's get straight to it. Alright, so now we're gonna get into this ham. We got a quick and an easy prep today. Won't be too much that we're gonna be doing. I went with the traditional ham that's already sliced to spiral cut. Not a whole lot that you gotta do. It makes it pretty easy. We're gonna get a little messy and get on in here to try to get some of this rub in between the middle. There's a plastic piece that's normally here on the front. Make sure you take that off. We don't wanna mess around and cook that. And I'm gonna tell you now and I'm gonna remind you later. Make sure that you hold on to this ham bone and save a little extra meat on there. Whole lot of good things you can do with that ham bone. I'll make sure I might even throw a bit of the video just to show that later on the back end, some of what we'll be doing with the ham bone. But make sure you save that. Whole lot of good eating there. With that said, let's get to the work. What we're gonna do first, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw on me a little bit of a glove, and I'm just gonna give it a little light dusting of olive oil. Mainly, one of the main reasons I wanna do that is just so I can get something on here to allow this rub to kind of stick. Other than that, it'll also kind of help it with just keeping it nice and brown all over. You keep in mind when we're making this ham is already pre-cooked. So it's not like we have to really do any cooking. What we're doing is warming it up. Technically, this thing has already been smoked. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna take it nice and slow and we're gonna give it a little bit of top end smoke. And then more importantly, I'm gonna be putting a little bit of a little something special on top. Get the nice little glaze on there. We'll get this heat rile seasoning on here. I've been wanting to get with that for a long time anyway, or at least try some of his seasonings. So it should be good. So now I got a little bit of olive oil pretty much all the way around the base of this ham. We're gonna go ahead and get into the messy little job of putting some rub on. So this is what I want to do. I want this thing to look messy. At the end of the day, one of the reasons I kind of wanted to go with this cherry rub was, one, I told you, Heath Riles is known as a serious competitor and has a lot of good rubs. I never had tried one, but I was looking for something different to do on the ham. I wanted something that comes with a lot of flavor and had a good looking color, and cherry always brings that out. So we want to go ahead and make sure we get a good cover of that on there. First, I'm gonna start, and it's a little windy out here, so bear with me. We're right on the face of it. And I'm gonna pat that in. From there, what I'm gonna be doing is, I wanna pull it back a little bit, just so I can get right in between these individual cracks, kind of fan it a little bit, and we're just gonna hit a little rub down in there. Not a lot, because I don't wanna open this baby up too much. Once we start cooking, it'll open up on its own. But I do wanna get a little flavor more than just on the top. We'll get some down in there. From there, I'm just gonna give it a healthy coat of this cherry rub all over. And I can tell this thing's a little packed down. It's all right. There we go. I tell you what, even though I'm outside and even though there's wind and obviously some flies too that I'm fighting off to try to get to my ham already, you can smell this rub. This cherry smells beautiful. Cherry was always, for me, one of the best woods as far as what I love smoking with. It's hard for me to necessarily find big pieces of it out here in Arizona, but love the color that it puts on the meat. It's a very subtle smoke, so normally you don't put yourself in a position where you over smoke your meat, but all the way around it was always a favorite of mine. So now I got this thing pretty much good to go. You know I'm gonna bring you around so you can check it out too, but if you haven't yet, today I'm gonna be going ahead and, like I said earlier, we're gonna be cooking this on my Green Mountain pellet grill. I don't want to get too high in temperature, especially early on. I want it to just come up nice and slow, 2 temp, and so we got plenty of time to sneak some of the smoke flavor in there, some of this extra smoke. So I guess we can say we're gonna do a double smoked ham today, right? And I'm not gonna get it too high. Like I was saying, I'm gonna be cooking at 250 today. So I'm about to get that up to par. I'm gonna make sure that I got a nice mean top layer all the way around. And I'll bring you over here and let you check it out. And there it is. Nice and seasoned. A little bit broke up here on the front as I was kind of fanning these blades a little bit to get some seasoning in there. So pretty much all the way down in the inside of there, we're gonna have us some good flavor. And like I said, this is done. It's no different than your lunch meat. So I've tasted a little bit that it came off on my hands, and I tell you what, this cherry rub is phenomenal. It's gonna taste great on this ham. And it's a pretty solid ham, a little over 10 pounds. I'm gonna let this hang out for a sec as our pick comes up to temp, and we will be back. Okay, we have rested. We are smoking. And let's get in here and check this thing out. I just threw this ham on. We're going at 250 today on the Daniel Boone Green Mountain Grill pellet smoker. And what we're gonna do, so I pull this through, we're gonna go ahead and use the thermometer that's right on the grill. See if I can do this with one hand. Pardon my reach. And we're going right into nearly the center. Make sure you don't get the bone of that ham. Just like that. We're going for an internal temp of 140. Remember, this is already cooked, so really we're just warming it up. I said we're only at 250, so it'll take us a while. I'm guesstimating, like I said, this is, I think it was 10.43 pounds. I'm guesstimating it's gonna take roughly about 4 hours at 250. When I get to about 1:30, and obviously I'm gonna bring you in before that, we are going to start glazing this puppy with this beautiful cherry bourbon glaze that we're about to put together here in a minute. You're gonna love that. This thing smells great, tastes great already, so I'm already feeling good about what we're about to come out with. Last thing that I'll leave you with before I put this baby to sleep is I did throw it on the rack upside down. Makes it a hell of a lot easier when I want to rotate this thing and as I'm glazing it and everything. And two, with it already being sliced, as this thing starts to cook and you know it'll open all up on you, it'll fall all apart. So it's gonna help out a ton is what I'm getting at. So keep an eye on that. I'll catch you back here in about an hour. We'll take a peek at it and we'll kind of go from there. Okay, team. Smoking right along at 250. Got my whole back porch smelling great. We've been it's about an hour and 14 minutes. Let's take a peek. We're going in together. First time. And this thing looks pretty already. Smells amazing. I'm using a little bit of nothing to do. I'm going to close this right back up. We should notice that should start caramelizing up here soon. Like I said, I'm expecting roughly about 4 hours on the cook time. As far as my pellets, I got a blend of maple, hickory, and cherry pellets in there. I think that's gonna go great and complement that pork, and I think at the end of the day, we should be good. Let's keep it going. Hey, what up, team? Real quick, I want to take a second and let you know if you're new here, thanks for coming in and checking us out. Make sure you hit that bottom right and like and subscribe. Follow along with the weekly cooks and check out some of the ones that you might have already missed. And for everybody that's been following along, I appreciate you and I hear all your comments and I appreciate those too. Keep them coming and pass this on so we can keep on growing. And let's get to the work. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and throw together this glaze. This won't be hard at all. Pretty much all we're going to do is get ourselves a nice medium saucepan so you can actually put everything together in. So we're going to be doing a jar of cherry preserves that we're going to be putting in today. And all I want to do, I'm going to use my little spatula. We'll get this right into the saucepan. I got a mean pinch of cinnamon that we're going to be throwing in. Along with another mean pinch of ground cloves. Then we got a couple tablespoons of thyme and sage, both fresh. Some molasses. It's gonna be going in here to make this thing nice and thick. Give us back some sweetness. And I tell you, using this little spatula helps out so much with getting all the rest out of this little jar. Obviously, you could have poured everything directly into the saucepan. I do more or less most of this so you can see it. Okay, it's pretty much good on that. And to start the show, we got 3/4 of a cup of this bourbon that we're gonna pour in there too. All right. You can use whatever bourbon you like. I used a little something that I had already on the shelf, but you can definitely kind of play around and get a good one in there. We're gonna mix this up. We're gonna take this in, and first off, I'm gonna bring you in there so you can see what it looks like. We'll take it in. We're putting this on the stove to simmer, so you want to go on low heat. We don't want this to burn, and we need to cook that alcohol off, and we want all of this to come together really well. So we're gonna cook this down. This is gonna kind of break down quite a bit, and you'll notice quite a bit of it is gonna break down and get smaller. But we'll cook this for about half hour. I'll bring you back and let you check it out. There it is. Nothing too crazy. Smells great, I'll tell you that. Between them cherry preserves and the cloves and the cinnamon and everything, you definitely got it smelling nice and fragrant. And those fresh herbs always do wonders. Mix this up really well. You can see it's nice and runny right now, which is what we expect. We're gonna go render this thing down by letting it simmer for about a half an hour right on the stove. I'll bring you back so you can see what it looks like when it's all said and done. Okay, team, we smoking right along. It's a little over 2 hours here. We're about at about 100 degrees internal, which is what I expected. So there's nothing to see here. I just kind of brought you in just so you would see what we doing and what it's gonna look like, which is nothing. We're gonna let it chill on out and keep doing exactly what it's doing, which is just warming up internally. Like I said, I'm expecting roughly about a 4-hour cook, and if anything, we about to go yank that glaze off. So here's that glaze. Basically, we brought this up to a boil and then brought it down over low, and it's definitely a lot thinned out. There are some lumps in here, so what we're gonna do, and depending on which preserves you get, it can be even thicker, the pieces of cherry. I'm gonna run this through my blender so we can get us a nice consistency, and then we're gonna let this just hang out and marry. All right, and with the wonders of television, here we go. We got this thing all blended. And I tell you what, it smells amazing, and I've tasted it. It's great. Now as this kind of cools off a little bit, it'll thicken up. And then I tell you what too, as a party foul, you keep in mind something I just did. When you're setting this up in the beginning and you letting it boil, it'll bubble up really quick. So make sure that you keep an eye out. That way you don't have any messes. All right, we'll let that hang out, and then we'll come back later on once we get up to about 1:30, and we'll start glazing. All right, team, we've been rolling along. I ended up kicking my temp up, and I also a couple things, like why you always pay attention. I feel like I wasn't getting a whole lot of movement as far as my temperature, so I actually switched over to my ThermoPro, and I could tell that first off I was getting like a high reading early, and I could tell something was off, so I switched over to the ThermoPro. But overall, I felt like I overall wasn't moving too fast, and I didn't want to smoke that long. I just wanted to get a good smoke flavor in there. But I went ahead and kicked up my temperature for a little bit, came on back down. I'm a little over 4 hours right now, about 4.5 hours. I done got to this 1:30 mark, and real quick, we'll check out this glaze. Let me tell you, after you let that bourbon reduce down, because initially it's got some kick on it now, but let me tell you, look at that. Man, this tastes great. This tastes like Christmas right here. So we better get some of this on this ham. That cloves, I can tell you what, that did wonders. That baby still look pretty. Still look pretty. Whew, it's a little hot. All right, so we're gonna get some of this on. I'm gonna glop it on there, more or less. I'm gonna slide this in here right with us. I'm gonna switch over. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a healthy amount on right now. We need to take this up to 140. So we're pretty much there. Pretty much there. Like I told you, I had kicked up my temp. When I kicked it up, I went up to 300. To be honest with you, I think I might need to do a firmware update. It's been a while since I had my Green Mountain. It's about 2 years old, even though this baby clean. I done had him a while, and I haven't done a firmware update, man. I can't even think, baby, since I damn near got it all started. So I know I probably need to do that, and that might be why I'm getting a little bit of the false readings out of the probes, as well as maybe even the grill temps itself. I can't say that I've actually checked it for a while, but luckily that's why while you cooking, you know, every cook can be different. So use your eyes. Look for those key things that you always look for, whether it's meat pulling back or color or whatever have you. And then always do you a secondary check when you're doing your probes. Bring in that handheld probe, you know, make sure that you hit that probe in more than one spot, and that way you make sure you get what you want. I'm gonna finish glazing this baby, and then we're gonna let it sit back on here. Like I said, I'm back at 250 now. And then once we get up to 140, I'll pull it off, we get a taste, we're gonna call it another good cook. Okay, team, it has been about 5 hours, a little bit longer than I thought it was gonna be. This baby is beautiful. Look at that. I took the probe out already. I'm at the 140. This is, again, quick little tip. That rack, man, that makes life easy. I quickly basted this real quick when I took the rack out, or the probe out, to get it all ready. But she about to come up off of here, and we're gonna let her rest. But that's a full 360 shot of what we got. We're gonna be all right. And I can tell you what, that glaze is absolutely amazing. You know, I'm gonna put it in the descriptions, but you can kind of freehand it if you want to kind of put more of the cloves and the cinnamon in there. I might have to bring this one back for Christmas for sure. All right, team, let's bring you in here so you can check out this star. I know my light is absolutely horrible, man. I'm out here with the porch lights at this point of the night, and I tell you what, if you can see it from where I'm seeing it, and if you can smell it like I'm smelling it, this thing came out absolutely perfect. We got to 140. Like I said, it ended up taking me more towards about 5 hours, a little over, which is cool. I'm not worried about it. At the end of the day, majority of this I'm be eating, and we're gonna be making it into breakfast and so on and so forth. You know, I might figure out a couple more things to do with the ham. And like I told you before, make sure you save that ham bone. So I'm gonna make sure I save plenty of meat for that. That's gonna be great. This Heath Riles cherry rub, man, this is great. I can't wait to try this maybe on some ribs or some chicken breasts or something like that. I think that's gonna be real good. I done let this thing sit out here and rest. Like I said, we had smoked it over a mixture of pellets. They had maple, they had hickory, and they had cherry pellets in there. So perfect complement to pork, but we not gonna talk about this thing no more. I done tasted the glaze. I done tasted it while it was re-smoked. It's time to get the real deal going out of here. I'm going for this piece right here, but I'm gonna flip it around because you know the hips don't lie, the face don't lie. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I want you to see me. So we gonna go in right about here. Look at that flavor all the way through. And it's just tearing right on off, which is exactly what you want. This is my piece. All right, so they call it Pitmaster privilege, right? We're going in on this whole thing right here. This is all me. There we go. I feel like you get a little better light over here. And this thing is definitely cherry looking, and it is candy. I'm gonna tell you something. We winning. Killer Miller Q, you know I appreciate y'all. And by the way, we almost at 500 subscribers. Let's go. I'll catch you soon. Peace.